Money Matters, powered by Nedbank Insurance. Insurance you can bank on every day.
Welcome to Money Matters, proudly brought to you by Nedbank Insurance. We're here with Walter Marto, who's the managing executive of Nedbank Insurance, to help us make sense of all things insurance. Walter, one of the most common questions we received is whether people even need insurance at all, and if they do, how they can ensure that their cover is adequate for different stages of their lives. Can you help us answer this question? Do I need insurance?
Raf, at the most basic level, insurance really pools small contributions from many people to cover a loss or the damage from a risk insurable event. It's as simple as that, really. You think about it, if you owned a car that was, let's say, 50,000 Rand and it gets stolen, you'll need 50,000 Rand to replace it. So you either have to save for that money or you've got to take out a loan, and it might be your second loan on that vehicle, and therefore it makes it unaffordable. Insurance, on the other hand, allows you to make affordable small contributions, actually, a month on month, let's say 500 or less a month, to cover that 50,000 Rand car. So if it is stolen, you can actually replace it. I think importantly, insurance will cover even if you've only paid 1 month or 2 months of insurance premiums. You don't really have to cover the full 50,000 with your premiums that you pay as you would if you saved. So insurance should really be considered as part of your financial plan and reflect your personal circumstances. And I like to refer to it as financial resilience to protect you in that moment of need that you require to replace that asset, or a lump sum gets paid to a loved one.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Insurance covers the risk of loss or damage that could lead to a financial setback for me or my family, depending on what's happening at the time. So I've got that. But life is consistently changing. How can I make sure that I'm still adequately covered as my circumstances change?
Yeah, it's a great question, that, and an important thing to focus on with insurance, because your risks change as your life changes and your responsibilities change. If you think back to when I was very young and I was 25 years old and I lived in a flat and had contents, maybe I just needed to cover the contents of my flat and maybe the obligation that I might leave behind to my loved one if I passed away. As I got older and had children and had a wife, I then had to obviously insure more of my assets and have a greater obligation to leave my wife and children with a lump sum. And then as you get older and retire, you start thinking about your legacy, leaving something behind for your children, and therefore you might need more, a bigger lump sum from a life insurance perspective.
Yeah. And I suppose it's not just about having insurance, Walter. It's about having the right insurance for the stage that you are in your life.
Exactly. And at Nedbank Insurance, we call it cover that grows with you. So your policy should reflect your current reality. That means you need to check it consistently and regularly. Significant changes in your life, like getting married or having children, can change that. And you need to make sure that you're adequately covered for that. Otherwise, your cover is not going to evolve as you evolve as a human.
And that's something you have to be conscious of, that when you reach that life stage, make sure that you're touching base with the insurance policy, right?
That's correct. You need to make sure that every single life stage as it changes, you reflect on it and you make sure that those covers that you need, either for changes in protecting your assets or protecting your loved ones, is aligned to that.
Now, we've had a great tip, treat your insurance like a financial health tech. And it's recommended that reviewing your policy every year or after any major life event to make sure that it still meets your needs. How important is that?
Very important, Raf, because it's not like you should do your insurance needs, take out the policy and then do nothing. That's not what it's about. It's about updating your policy and making sure it matches as your life changes. It's like your normal life. You don't want your employer not to give you an increase every year. You don't want to get better at what you do through your life stages. So insurance is like that. You should continuously reflect on where you are and renew it. So I'm very lucky. My birthday's in the middle of the year. I like to reflect on my insurance in the middle of the year, halfway between the year. So I use my birthday as my reminder. You might use your insurance policy increases. You might use your New Year's resolutions after you've done those as you come back in January to review your insurance policy. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that you're continuously reviewing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really helpful, continuously reviewing it, and it's not like you're saying buy everything, right? That's not what you're saying at all.
Yes, you need to actually take up insurance that reflects your situation in life. You would really be wasting your money if you try to cover everything. And I often use this example is when you take out vehicle insurance, really think twice about taking that car hire benefit, because maybe you don't need your vehicle regularly. You maybe only really can get away with taking an Uber once a week. So therefore you could save that money. Or maybe you take out a small amount of life cover, and as you get older, you can increase that life cover because the obligation that you're leaving behind when you're much younger is less than what you are when you're older, when you want to leave a legacy for your children.
Yeah, so it's really about matching your cover to your current lifestyle and I suppose anticipating what's next.
It definitely needs to anticipate what's coming next as the risks that you face is what's actually changing week in, week out, or year in and year out. And I think it's important. If you think in South Africa 10 years ago, we weren't insuring solar panels.
Yes.
Now suddenly we need to think about insuring our solar panels, otherwise we're not going to have power. So that your insurance does need to cover that. And we also need to make sure that we're taking out the right cover for the right risk that we're facing. If you're using your vehicle to earn an income, it's really important that you think seriously about what cover you need to be able to protect that income. You might find you're going to drive your car into a pothole and now you have to replace the tire and the rim, but you can't get your car to the gig that night. So best you take out cover that protects your tire and rim so that you can replace those tire and rims and get to your gig and get your income.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting insights to be able to reflect on all things insurance. And there you have it. You need insurance to protect you from loss or damage that could cause financial hardship. Your insurance, good people, is personal and should reflect where you are in life and what you can afford. Review your cover whenever there's a major change, buying a house, changing cars, or even getting a new cell phone. It's that simple. At minimum, review it once a year. And where you're unsure, service providers like Nedbank Insurance are there to help you assess your needs and provide the most relevant and affordable cover. Thanks for those insights, Walter.
It's a pleasure.
Money Matters, powered by Nedbank Insurance. Insurance you can bank on every day.